The power's been out for a couple of hours. Long enough that you've stopped noticing it's gone. Someone opens the fridge to get milk for a kid. The light doesn't come on, but the milk is still cold, and the food still looks fine. So they close the door and move on. That house has about 4 hours. That's the number on every food safety page, and it's correct. But that family just spent part of it, and they'll spend the rest the same way, without ever noticing. Because 4 hours isn't a promise, it's a ceiling. And the moment the power died, your fridge stopped being a fridge. It became a clock. Here's what most people get wrong about a fridge once the power's gone. It's not making cold anymore. It's holding on to what it already had, and it holds on badly. Every time that door opens, the cold air falls out, and warm air moves in behind it. So every look inside costs you something. And in a house without power, people look constantly. Is the milk still good? What's safe to eat? What do we do about dinner? The kids are hungry. So the door opens again. Every one of those moments is small and reasonable and completely understandable. And every one of them takes time off a clock nobody agreed to start. Which sets up the part that catches almost everybody. The more a family worries about the food, the faster they lose it. We'll get to why that happens, and it's worth staying for, because it's the one drain nobody in that kitchen is counting. When the power comes back, everyone asks the same question. Is the food still okay? It feels like the right question. But it treats the fridge like an appliance that's either working or broken, and that's not what's happening here. The fridge isn't broken. It's counting. Which means the question that actually helps you is about the clock, not the food. How much of your 4 hours do you have left? Because that 4 is a best case. It assumes the door stayed shut, the fridge was reasonably full, and the room stayed cool. Break any one of those, and the real number drops, usually by more than people expect. There's a second clock in the same kitchen, and it runs much longer. A full freezer stays cold for around 48 hours. Half that if it's only half full. Same rule applies, doors closed. So now you have 2 numbers and 2 clocks. What almost nobody has is the 4 hours those numbers describe, because the way a normal house behaves during an outage takes most of it away before anyone notices. Start with what drains it. Heat, mostly. A warm kitchen pulls the cold out faster, so a summer outage and a winter outage are not the same event. An empty fridge has less cold stored in it to begin with, which is why a packed one outlasts a bare one. And every open drains it again. That's also why the freezer holds so much longer. It's packed solid with frozen food, and all of that mass works together to stay cold. Which gives you one move most people miss. When something in the fridge is getting close to the line, the freezer can hold it in a way the fridge can't. Then, when the power comes back, you're allowed to refreeze anything that still has ice crystals on it, or anything still sitting at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below, 4 Celsius. You don't make that call by looking at it, and you never make it by tasting. You follow the rule, and if you're unsure, the food goes. There's one more cost that almost never gets counted. With no power, there's no light inside that fridge either. You can't see what you're reaching for, so the door hangs open while you hunt for it. The dark doesn't just make it harder to see, it makes the clock run faster. So here's the part I said would catch almost everybody. When you're worried about the food, the instinct is to go check on it. Open the door, look, feel it, decide. And checking is the exact thing that's costing you. The more worried you get, the more often you open it. And the more often you open it, the less time is actually left. That's the trap. The worry makes the problem worse, and it does it quietly, because nothing about opening a door feels expensive. A family that opens the fridge every 20 minutes through an evening isn't being careless. They're being careful. But every one of those opens spends cold they don't get back. And the 4 hours on the page assumed a door that stayed shut. Nobody in that kitchen is counting the opens, so nobody sees the margin go. There's a second assumption sitting underneath all of this, and it's the one that costs people the most. A lot of homes figure a backup battery or a generator solves this outright. Just plug the fridge in and keep it running. But a fridge doesn't behave like a lamp. It runs a compressor that kicks in hard, shuts off, and kicks in again, over and over, all night long. Keeping one cold on backup power is a much larger job than keeping a light on, and most people find that out at the worst possible time. So stop managing the fridge. Manage the clock. Before you open that door, decide what you're taking and what you're eating first. Then you're in and out in seconds, instead of standing there with the door open making up your mind. Keep it shut the rest of the time. Treat the freezer as your longer timer and move things into it as the fridge runs down. And when you're not sure about something, throw it out. Never taste it to find out. Your fridge handed your family a job the moment the power died. The job isn't to check more, it's to open less. Think back to the start. That house had 4 hours. The milk was cold. The food looked fine. And every single decision anyone made after that was reasonable. Nobody did anything wrong. That's exactly why it happens. And it points straight at the obvious fix. If losing power starts the clock, then give the fridge power. Plug it into a battery and keep it running. It sounds simple, and it's the plan most homes quietly rely on. It's also the plan that fails first, because of how a fridge actually draws power through a night. Your fridge didn't stop working. It started counting. Next, we'll look at what a battery can really keep running overnight, and exactly where that plan breaks.